Hello YouTube, it's the Drunken Kobold here, today with a review of the Dris Do'Urden Icingdeath and Twinkle Sword replicas by Modern Icons, Statues, and Replicas. A little bit of history on these swords before we get into the product review. Icingdeath is a +3 scimitar, also a frost weapon that absorbs fire and heat and protects its user from fire damage. The original description of Icingdeath included a adamantite gem-encrusted grip with a hunting cat pommel. You had a silver blade that was lined with a diamond edge and runework in the blade. Twinkle, on the other hand, was described as a golden weapon with very pronounced crossguard and quillions, as well as a golden handle and a sapphire encrusted pommel. There is present runework in Twinkle as well, and it is also known to glow blue, similar to Sting from Lord of the Rings, when in the presence of enemies. Twinkle serves as a +5 scimitar and a +2 defensive scimitar in the books, although in your source books, but is never used as such in the novels. With that said, let's get into the product here at hand. First, we have Icingdeath. The first thing we will start is at the pommel, and you can see that it has the hunting cat pommel, which is well known for Icingdeath. You can see the adamantite grip. However, there is nothing here to suggest that this is gem encrusted, unless you are referring to the crest here near your crossguard and quillion. And the crossguard is not pronounced just like it should be. Moving on to the blade. This blade looks like a standard steel blade, but the original Icingdeath is silver with a diamond-lined blade here. There's nothing to suggest that this represents a diamond-lined blade. No huge difference in color, and one noticeable difference is the missing rune work from this blade. So overall, pretty cool. I do like that they got the hunting cat pommel, the adamantite grip and crossguard, and the blade itself, like shape and everything, is pretty accurate to the original artworks of these swords, a detail that we will discuss later. But the fact that it doesn't have the diamond line blade represented here and the rune work is missing is a little disappointing. Next, we have its scabbard. The scabbard has foam lining to make the sword easily sheathable and unsheathable. Let's take a look here. Slides in. You can see that down here by the crossguard there is a little bit of give in the scabbard to accommodate the width of the blade. However, one thing you will notice is it has a very loose fit. That's because the foam that is here at the end does not go all the way through the scabbard, so there is a lot of room for it to rattle at the end of it. The Icingdeath sword is made of flex rubber and is overall probably not the most durable of weapons. It's not well weighted, so giving it swings may loosen it from the grip itself. As you can see, the pommel, the grip, and the crossguards are one piece. The blade is another piece that was inserted and is probably held together with adhesive. Moving on to Twinkle. Twinkle is its traditional golden color. It has the well-pronounced quillions on the crossguard, and it has this sapphire encrusted pommel. Overall, lore-wise, the look of the grip and everything is accurate. The shape of the blade is also accurate. And one thing that is present here that is not present on Icingdeath is the rune work on this elvish-made sword. As you can see by the grip, it is very elaborate and intricate, very becoming of its elvish origins. Much like Icingdeath, the blade is similarly shaped, and they are definitely both scimitar weapons. Like Icingdeath, this is not a well-weighted sword. I would not be swinging it around, and I definitely would not be hitting it against Icingdeath or any other plastic weapon for that matter. Also, much like Icingdeath, the crossguard, the grip, and the pommel are one piece, and the blade is another piece that has been inserted and most likely put together with adhesive. Moving on to the scabbard for Twinkle, you can see that it is more elvish in design than Icingdeath. One thing about this scabbard is I will not be sheathing Twinkle and taking it out, simply because the foam is very thick through the scabbard, and the scabbard does not have any give down here. So when the sword goes in, it doesn't have any give to accommodate it, and the ornate piecings here actually start to come apart. And I do want these to, have a very long life as ornaments on my bookcase. So sadly, I will not be demonstrating sheathing this one for you today. One thing that I do want to note about Twinkle is Twinkle in lore glows blue when enemies are nearby. The gold paint in the blade would have been nice to see a little bit of, almost like a blue tinge to it to signify its power. But other than that, this is a very, very lore accurate sword. Now, I mentioned earlier of alternate artworks. A gentleman named Todd Lockwood eventually took over the artistic design of Drist, and when he did, he completely redesigned Twinkle and Icingdeath. They now look almost like twin swords rather than two distinct swords that Drist wields on hand and off hand. The rune work on them is the same. The grip and the pommels look the same. The hunting cat and the sapphire that are part of the traditional description have been removed. And the crossguards and quillions almost look identical on the new swords. So when you see swords that are on the replica market that look the exact same, they are not lore inaccurate. They are revision swords and are based off Todd Lockwood's description and are still officially licensed by R.A. Salvatore. That said, for traditionalists, they are not the most accurate sword, and you will often see in the comments, Icingdeath and Twinkle are not twin swords. You're missing the hunting cat pommel, you're missing the sapphire pommel. So it is very, it's a matter of when you were introduced to these swords on which description is most accurate for you. That said, I have seen descriptions of these swords since Icingdeath was first described in the Crystal Shard and first named in the Silent Blade. So for me, these are the most lore accurate weapons. Like I did say about Icingdeath, the rune work is missing and the gem encrusted grip is not present. but those are minor details that I am willing to forgive. Well, maybe not the rune work as much, but the one thing that does really do it for me is the fact that this is missing any indicator of like a representation of that diamond edged blade. So lore wise, fantastic weapons. Materials wise, highly disappointed. These carry an MSRP at EBGames of $200 Canadian. At Gamestop, I believe they are $120 or $130. So don't quote me on that, but that is the price I believe they are. Now, these are PVC handles and flex rubber blades with a solid rubber handle. I can go to my mall, get officially licensed swords, whether it's swords from Game of Thrones, Legend of Zelda. I believe one store even has a authentic replica of Tenseiga from Inuyasha. That is the most commonly known as Sesshomaru's sword that he was gifted, well, willed by his father. The price on those swords ranges from $119 to about $129 each. These retail for $200. So the fact that I could go buy two metal swords with metal scabbards, metal handles that have have faux leather grips, metal blades. I could get two of them from anywhere from $240 to $260 Canadian. The fact that this is a paired set for $200 and the materials that they are made out of being rubber and PVC is very disappointing to me. I would have liked to have seen these made of metal, and then even if they didn't give the buy a pair discount and you had to pay $240 to $260 for these, I would have been much more happy than paying $200 for rubber and PVC. So material wise, highly disappointing. Durability. Do not play with these swords. Do not let your kids play with these swords. The flex rubber in the blade is, as it suggests, flexible. It is not solid at all through the blade, and it has give at each point, more so the more you move. Swing this wrong, or let it get hit by the other sword, or even another piece of hard plastic, this will most likely break. It may not break the blade, but it will remove it from the grip. So these are not toys. I don't want to see any comments with parents asking, are these suitable for kids? The answer is no. Do not get these for your children. These are collector's pieces that are meant to be put on display. You can sheath Icingdeath. If you are going to sheath Twinkle, be very careful because that foam does not have any give to it. I do not know if this is an issue with just my weapon or if this is an across the board issue. Overall, the grade I have to give these is a 6 out of 10. Lore-wise, these knock it out of the park. I do not like Todd Lockwood's revisions to the swords. I do not like the officially licensed replica swords that are on the market. I know you can get them, they're metal. You can get two of them. It comes to like $150. So the fact that those are also significantly cheaper than these shows that these could have been made of metal, but I do not like those revision swords. I like these lore accurate swords. So the fact that these are as lore accurate as you can get, and they are the most lore accurate on the market, 2 thumbs up. The fact that these scabbards are PVC step on them, drop something on them, hit them against something, these are broken. They are not durable whatsoever. The blades, the swords themselves, not durable whatsoever. So materials-wise, these are a huge disappointment to me. The fact that materials-wise they are not good materials also leads into functionality. Functionality, these do not and should not be used as toys. Do not use them as toys. I'm just going to stress that. So the fact that they have one thing really, really good going for them and two things not going good for them at all, my apologies, I feel that a 6 out of 10 grade for these is more than generous. Some people may even fail these at a 4 or 5 out of 10. But the fact that they are so lore accurate does give them the pass for me. I will be hanging them on the wall. I will probably sheath Icingdeath to hang and then have 2 separate hangers for the Scabbard and Twinkle itself. Do I recommend getting these products? All controversy and scandal of Gamestop aside, price-wise, I'd say these are a little expensive for what they are. So they are definitely a discretionary item. They aren't a must-have for collectors. Like I said, there are cheaper revision replicas on the market that are more accurate to Todd Lockwood's art. But if you are someone like me who really, really wants to have the original designs, go for it if you have the money. But be warned, they are expensive for what they are. So that said, have you picked up these swords yourself, and what is your opinions? Let me know in the comments down below. If you feel I deserved it, please leave a like and consider subscribing. It would mean the world to me. I love doing these videos and I love seeing your positive reactions. In the meantime, cheers and may the rolls be with you.